Welcome to the CEO Breakfast and Strategy Series, co-hosted by St. Norbert College and the Schneider School of Business and Economics right here at St. Norbert College. I'm Brian Brees, the president. It's my great delight to welcome you here to today. Now, in our 21st year, the CEO Series provides executives with the opportunity to hear from some of the area's top CEOs, and today will be no different. This resource is brought to you through the generosity of our presenting sponsor, WPS Health Solutions, title sponsors Myron Construction, Johnson Bank, Johnson Insurance, and Insight Publications. The sponsor of this session is Davis Quiltau Attorneys. Please give our sponsors a round of applause for their support. At your tables are some folders. We encourage you to take that with you and review that material and continue to thank and support our sponsors in the days that come ahead. The only thing between me and a delightful meal is a prayer, grace. So I'm going to offer that. But first I want to acknowledge, as we did at our first CEO Breakfast Series of the season, the fact that we're here today without Harry Meyer. As you know, we lost Harry Meyer, an icon in the community, but also someone who's been with us this entire journey of the CEO Breakfast Series. He was such an iconic member of our community, always connecting people, always bringing people together. In fact, when I came back to the college, he was the first person who interviewed me. And so I just want to acknowledge today that we are here without Harry in our presence. And as we come into the season of Thanksgiving and share our gratitude for each other, for being here together, for being in community together, let us remember Harry and his family in the days to come. And might we also give gratitude for the many contributions he made to this series and to our community. And might we also together say, bless us, O Lord, and these gifts which we're about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Bon appetit. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mark Casper. Mark was born and raised right here in Green Bay and graduated right here from St. Norbert College with a bachelor's degree in math and accounting. He later earned his MBA, long before St. Norbert College had an MBA. He earned his MBA from University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh and practiced as a CPA for 5 years before returning to the family business, Merhart Ltd. He began as controller in 1983, assumed the role of president in 1992, and became the CEO in 1996. Merhart is a building material distributor with headquarters in Green Bay. Mr. Casper is a former board member of the Greater Green Bay YMCA and Greater Green Bay Community Foundation. He currently serves as board chair for Family Services of Northeast Wisconsin and has been involved at the board level with several industry trade associations. He is an avid golfer, and he is closing in on his bucket list to play golf in all 50 states. Please welcome Mark Casper.
Good morning. Good morning. So just for the record, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Delaware. Then we'll be done with all 50 states. So thank you, Brian. Thank you, St. Norbert, for inviting me. It's special as an alumnus to come back and talk at the college you attended. Thank you to Amy Sorensen. Where's Amy? Amy's here somewhere. Back there. For getting me set up this morning. And I want to recognize a group that I have. I got a table back there, and then I got a couple more interspersed here. So my management team, 2 of my sisters are here. So thanks for your support. I thought I'd start with a little bit of history and information about Amerhart, because some people in the room probably have never heard of Amerhart. So here's where it all started. This building's not there anymore, but it was on Glendale Avenue in Duck Creek. For those of you old enough to know where that is. It's now Howard. Actually, this was the Cormier Station Railroad Depot a long, long time ago. This picture's probably from the 1950s, and I know that because that's when my dad started to work for Hartman Wholesale. So a little quick history. In 1940, the company started as Hartman Wholesale. And in 1952, our dad went to work there, so that's kind of when our history started. He bought the company in about 1960, so he's about 25 years old. Entrepreneurial. He started in 1952, the day after he graduated from West High School, as their bookkeeper. So we're pretty proud of the story. In 1963, he did his first acquisition. He bought a company called American Millwork. So in the 70s, he took part of American Millwork, part of Hartman Wholesale, stuck that name together, made up a name called Amerhart. And the reason he did it is because at the time, before computers, he wanted to have his invoices in the A file for people writing their checks. Honest to God, true story. He didn't sell to the public, so he didn't need to be first in the yellow pages. So he actually wanted to be somewhere near the front of the alphabet because he knew when he paid his bills, he didn't always get to the W's or X's or Y's or Z's. So that'll tell you a little bit about our dad. So the other part of the chart, which you can't read, just shows the acquisitions we've made over the years, and that's one of the opportunities we've taken advantage of to grow our business. So this is a picture of our Green Bay campus today. It's on Century Road, which is the street that comes right out of the front of the post office off Packerland Drive, so we're in the Packerland Industrial Park. It's also our corporate office. We have 20 acres and about 200,000 square feet of warehouse space there. And then across the Midwest, we have 9 warehouses. I kind of like to describe it from Traverse City, Michigan down to St. Louis, Missouri. We have a manufacturing facility in Sheboygan Falls where we do some specialty manufacturing. And we have a digital division. We just completed our fiscal year and our sales were about $260 million. And the last time they did a ranking that put us in the top 40 in the country. So a great story from somebody who started as a 17-year-old bookkeeper. My parents are still alive, winter in Florida. My dad's 84. Still asks a lot of questions about how the business is doing. Imagine that. No doubt you've seen our trucks on the road. And if you haven't, you will now. Any given day, there's about 50 of them on the road throughout the Midwest. And probably were wondering when you saw those trucks, what's inside of it. So when you pull back the curtain, that's what it looks like on the inside. We sell building materials to lumber yards, cabinet makers, store fixture manufacturers, and Home Depot and Lowe's. So we have about 80 categories of product we sell: broad, mix, lumber, plywood, vinyl siding, aluminum soffit, Trex decking, Formica laminate, lots and lots of stuff. A lot of things that you would use to build or improve your home. So, what do we do at Amerhart? Our vision is together we will inspire our communities to build their version of the American dream. That's a lofty vision, purposely broad on the community side. That can be any number of things. Those 4 highlighted red words summarize our values. Each one of those has some values attached to it. But one thing I remember from my early days with the company is my dad said, you should be proud of what you do because almost everything you sell helps improve someone's life. So it's all focused around build, and that's really what we're into. So that's a little bit about Amerhart. Now a little bit about the housing industry, which I want to talk about today. About 75% of our business correlates to housing starts. That's the housing start chart from 1959 to 2017. So that's a month-by-month dot for each month. And you can see, I wasn't sure you'd be able to see it, but there's some gray shaded areas. Those correspond to recessions that happened in that time frame. They started measuring housing starts in 1959. So this is the history of housing starts as long as they've been measured. Not surprisingly, during the recessions, the housing start numbers go down. Might be one of the challenges we talk about. Residential construction and housing account for about 17 to 18% of gross domestic product. So that's really similar to healthcare with a lot less drama. We don't get much attention up or down, but definitely the housing industry has a big impact on what happens in the country. So if you take out the noise, if you take out the monthly numbers and just do a dot for each year, that's what the chart looks like. And I added a few things to the chart. The red line across the middle is about 1.5 million starts, and that's the number that demographically we need to keep up with the population and immigration growth, the new households formed in the country. The fainter line, a little bit above that, is 2.2 million starts. That's the number we hit in 2006. So that was the last peak. We've only been above that one time ever. Back in 1973, we were at about 2.4 million starts. So you can see that dip that happened from 2006 to 2009. The average is about 1.4 over all those years. So we're really, the average and the demographic need are very similar, and probably will be for quite a while going forward. So just a little different look. That's the $1.5 million or 1.5 million start line. And you can see that we haven't been at it in more than 10 years. So, challenges and opportunities in supplying the housing industry. Challenges: 2.2 million starts in 2006. 550,000 starts in 2009. So in 3 years, 75% decline in housing starts. 75% of my business correlates to housing starts. Not many industries that I know of could survive a 75% drop in 3 years of business. So we're a cyclical and seasonal business. Some parts of the housing industry in California and Arizona aren't seasonal. We also get seasonal thrown on top of our cyclical. But about every 9 or 10 years, there's a recession in the housing industry. So the last one bottomed in 2009. I'm a math major. Most of you aren't, but you can probably do that math also. 9 or 10 years puts us somewhere between 2018 and 2019. But 2009 really changed our industry in fundamental ways that I'll talk about, offering some challenges and some opportunities. And again, like I said, the starts declined by 75%. Our business over that 3-year period declined by 38%. So we had another huge recession back in the early 80s in housing, 79, 80, 81. Amerhart's business declined by 38% in that recession, 38% in the last recession, just coincidentally. So my dad and I can't argue with each other about who had it worse. It was bad for both of us. I at least like to keep it even with them. So some other challenges. We have some true commodity prices in our business. 2x4s are a true commodity. So the framing material that goes into your house varies in price weekly. We have to stay on the market. So currently we're selling 2x4s for less than we paid for them. Not a great business model. It's just part of the way we do business. That has dropped dramatically in some cases where we were selling them for about 50% less than we paid for them for a while. It's come back now. But we have true commodity prices and true commodity products. Tariffs are an issue in our business. They're a little different than normal because we have a continuing tariff almost all the time on softwood lumber. Normally there's an agreement in place with the Canadians where we get most of it from. That agreement expired 2 years ago, so right now there's a 20% tariff on softwood lumber and a 15% countervailing duty. So there's 35% being added to the price right now. Generationally, there was a change in labor, not so much for us, but more at the contractor home building level. When that recession hit, a lot of the baby boomer home builders left. They didn't come back, and not a lot of kids are starting to become construction guys at the home building level. So our customers struggle mightily to find labor right now. Not unlike everybody else, but it's a big challenge at our customer level. Mortgage rates are a concern. They're going back up. That'll impact housing. Transportation issues, everybody knows about trucking issues. Just about as big an issue for us is rail, because we get a significant amount of material in via rail. So it's imperative that we have rail sidings next to most of our warehouses. Unfortunately, we turned a lot of rail into bike paths, and I don't mind bike paths, but we need more rail in the country. And then there's a changing customer base and habits. During the recession and after the recession, a lot of customers either went out of business or sold to somebody else. So we are now faced with fewer, bigger customers that have more buying power and are more professional and sophisticated. So that's a challenge for us. It used to be really fragmented and a little easier to do business with. So some of the current headlines and challenges: Bank of America downgrades home builder stocks as Wall Street grows bearish on housing. Mortgage rates fast approaching 5%, a fresh blow to housing market. U.S. housing starts fell more than expected in September. Housing market raising serious red flags. These are all in the last 2 or 3 months. Home building isn't what it used to be. And then my friend Mike Zimmer sent me another one yesterday. Home builder confidence falling through the floor. I think he thought that was funny. He told me I probably already knew about it, but thanks, Mike. Every 9 to 10 years, last one in 2009. But plenty of opportunities in the business. And I think we've taken advantage of a bunch of them. So our mission is to take our unique relationships that we have with our customers, because that's the only thing we have that nobody else has. Everybody has products, everybody has trucks, everybody has salespeople, everybody has warehouses. Take those, innovate by investing in people, technology, and services to help us grow and prosper. That's code for make money. So, opportunities, take the second part of that graph. Those 550,000 starts in 2009 turned into 1,250,000 this year in 2018. So that's about a 225% increase in that time frame. Still below the 1.5 that we need demographically to keep up with the household formation. We worked hard to stay profitable through the whole recession, and that allowed us to have some dry powder, as I like to call it, coming out of the recession to do some acquisitions. So we've done 6 acquisitions since 2010, and we've taken the business from the bottom was about 130 million to that 260 that I talked about this year. So in 9 years, we've doubled the business through acquisitions and organic growth. So the opportunities, take advantage of that cyclical nature of business. As people couldn't make it anymore, there were a lot of them that had no succession plan, and we found those people and we took them out of business and put them into the Amerhart family. So that's a real opportunity for us. And then, as our mission said, we're going to invest in people, technology, and services. So leverage those relationships. So how do we do that? People, we have a few things that I think are a little unique, probably not that unique, but some things we do. Every branch of our 9 branches has a 4-part monthly goal based on safety, profitability, productivity, and reducing errors. So every one of those goals we hit, every employee in the business gets a $50 bonus. If you hit all 4 of them, my CFO is a baseball player, we added the Grand Slam bonus. So if you hit all 4, you get an extra $50. So they have the opportunity to earn $250 a month for 12 months. We don't make all the goals, so they don't make all the goals, but it keeps them focused on safety, keeps them focused on productivity, keeps them focused on profitability and reducing errors. We survey the employees every 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years. And traditionally, historically, the top ranked item is Amerhart is a good place to work. And we really focus hard on families, and I think that's how we get that rating. Probably not different than a lot of people, but one way I look at it is there's more to this team than the 295 members that work here. There's the last check, 186 spouses, 189 dependents, and 72 retirees. So there's just about 750 in that Amerhart family. And my executive team's heard it a zillion times, and they're part of it. We make decisions based on how it impacts 750 people, not how it impacts 295, or not how it impacts the owners. And I think that's added to the longevity of the company. We have 50 employees right now with 20 years or more, and we'd have more than that, except probably 50 retired in the last 3 years with 20 years or more experience, based on how that's gone. So that's how we invest in people. Technology. I like to say we're all in on technology because I think this is one way to work on that productivity and work on the profitability and not have to spend as many dollars, not have to search so hard for people. So we have a WMS system, which is a warehouse management system, which one of my sisters spent a lot of time putting in over the last couple of years. So we scan everything into the warehouse as we pick it, as we load it. So we've reduced the errors, we've reduced the overtime, made it easier to train new staff. You hire anybody under 30 years old and you hand them a handheld when they walk in, you don't have to spend much time training them. Seriously, which is kind of fun to watch. And we've gained space in our warehouse because we're more organized than we've ever been. We're just about ready to launch a B2B, business-to-business product information source for our customers. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They'll have all the information they need about all our products, including the ability to order whenever they want. Right now, if they want to place an order, they can email it or they can call. We're open from 7:30 to 5 days a week. Kind of limits when they can call. They can email whenever they want. But I read something the other day that more than 50% of buyers now corporately are millennials. I don't know how many have millennials in here, their family, but most of them don't like to call. Seriously, they don't like to call. So we're going to get it so they don't have to call. On the logistics side, our drivers have e-logs. We have signature capture, so eliminate wait time for our drivers. We use data analytics to measure profitability for customers, branches, salespeople, territories, pretty much any way you want to look at it. And then we put in front of our salespeople have an iPad, so they can go in front of customers with all the information they need on products, pricing, promotions, how-to videos, installation, product warranties, everything they need. So that's how we invest in technology. I seem to be one behind here. And then investing in services. This is probably the one we've spent the most time on in recent history. We try to have the top brand in the category. Makes it a lot easier for our customers to sell. So Trex Composite Decking is #1 in their category. Formica Laminate's #2. CertainTeed Vinyl's #1. Rolex Soffit's #1. Try to have the top brand, making it easier for our customers to influence their customers. New products, there's a lot of things going on the composite side. So most of the new products on the wood side are some new way to put strand or chip technology together, because we're not cutting down as many large trees as we used to because there aren't as many. So we're taking more of the tree and making something that is probably a better product because it doesn't warp or twist or crack. So there's a lot of strand and chip technology going on the wood side. Value-added services, trying to save labor for our customers and their customers. So things like we'll design your floor plan, we'll deliver it to the job site, we'll fabricate things for trim around the house, we'll lay up things, we'll lay up Formica onto particle board, we'll cut it into pieces, put together for cabinets. We do a lot of that to save our customers time and money, and then we can charge for the value add that we do. We do a lot of training for our customers' customers and our customers. So in Wisconsin, if you're a contractor, you need to get so many hours of continuing education to keep your contractor license. So we have a Master Amerhart Contractor program, the MAC program, and we've trained, I think, 900 contractors in the last couple years. So we have a database now that we can not only help train, but help try to influence on what products we'd like them to think about buying. So that works into the marketing side. So we realized in 2009 when our customers cut way back on their staffs and cut way back on their inventories, that was going to be our job to have more inventory and to help influence the ultimate consumer on the product, because our customers quit selling, basically. They take orders for whatever you walk in and want to buy. So we decided we had to get out there and market, train. So we do all kinds of things around AdWord campaigns, and I'm not the right one to talk about this, but and a couple of my guys are laughing at me right now because they know that. I know just enough to be dangerous. We are trying to become the expert. We're trying to become the information source. And as a result, in some of those categories, we've seen growth well past the housing start growth the last couple of years. So that's been exciting to watch. So grow by acquisition, invest in people, technology, and services. That's been our recipe for success over the last couple of years. Lots of challenges, lots of opportunities. Hope you've learned a little bit about Amerhart and the housing industry. I probably have time for a question or two if we'd like. You can't have learned everything about it, but Joe?
When you said that you were kind of marketing to the top percentile in quality of product, I'm sure that a company like yours doesn't turn you back on the lower end. How do you figure out the percentage of grade?
So how do we figure out what product to market based on the quality? That's a good question. We have a wide array of products in some categories. 2x4s is a good example. You can buy 2x4s and spend more money to get something that looks a lot nicer, or you can just buy the regular grade, which is going to be the bottom of the grade nowadays. So we do it a couple ways. One is try to educate on why a better grade is more important. The other is to have some of the lower grade for people that want it. In manufactured type products, the quality is really kind of a foregone conclusion. Nobody can put out a product that isn't good quality or as good as their competitors. So, Dan?
With the acquisitions that you've done, how do you bring the Amerhart culture to the new companies that you brought on?
So that's a great question, Dan. How do we bring the Amerhart culture to the new companies we brought on? That's the single biggest challenge when we do them. Not surprisingly, anybody that's done acquisitions would understand that. We spend a lot of time up front evaluating that culture. We spend a lot of time evaluating how it's going to fit with ours. It is difficult sometimes. I jokingly say when you buy something, you either change the people or you change the people, which is how it goes. We try to get an Amerhart person there as soon as we can, somehow involved. If we can find somebody that wants to move there and manage, that's great, because that's the easiest way to change the culture. But we do really just look for companies that, our last acquisition in Sheboygan Falls was a classic case. They had been a customer of ours, so we knew them really well, and the cultures fit pretty tightly as we bought that and moved forward. So, Bob?
Mark, with 9 locations, how do you personally deal with your travel to the locations, being personally involved there? How does that fit into the overall scheme of things?
So how do we manage 9 locations, or how do I manage 9 locations with the travel involved? Because as I said, it's Traverse City to St. Louis. Each one's about 7 hours away, just in opposite directions. We go there a lot. I have a good executive team that spends a lot of time on the road also. We've just segregated into or split into 2 regions, so I now have 2 regional managers. One of them's here today. He manages my Northeast region. So he has Green Bay, Milwaukee, Traverse City, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then I have a gentleman in Madison who does Madison, La Crosse, Peoria, Illinois, and St. Louis. So that's cut down on my travel a little bit. I am trying to work my way out of this a little bit. So we are kind of going through that transition right now and structuring, but it is a lot of miles. We've just installed video conferencing equipment to really do the training and some of the meetings and not have to have people go everywhere and be everywhere. So it's just part of that all in on technology. It's a really simple, easy to use system, which has been, we've only had it about a month and it's really beneficial. Mr. Fry.
Mark, what are you doing to plan for the next downturn if that's only on the horizon?
So what are we doing to plan for the next downturn? That's a really good question. I don't personally think the next downturn in the Midwest is going to be, it won't be as severe as the last one. A lot of the headlines you're seeing right now and a lot of the stress is on the coasts, and most of it's around affordability on housing. Affordability around here isn't as big an issue yet as it is in a lot of spots. So that'll slow down the coasts, which will ultimately impact us. But I think with that 1.2 million start number and demographically needing 1.5 million, unless mortgage rates get really crazy, I think we'll stay at this number with a small amount of growth for a while. So we're not taking any steps right now to try to do anything different. The last one, we didn't cut back. We made sure we had people in front of the customers and kept inventory in front of them. So, and I think that gained us extra business, but we'll figure out a way to make it happen, make it work. Elliot?
Mark, are you geographically isolated from the natural disasters that are occurring, the fires in California, the hurricanes out of the Gulf and that? Or are you impacted by that at all?
Are we impacted by the natural disasters? Not really. The only impact we've had in the last couple of years is the Canadian, we get most of our lumber from British Columbia, and there was a huge beetle infestation in the forest, which took down 2/3 of the forest in British Columbia. So the prices were really low for a long time because they were harvesting that timber before it went bad, and the government was allowing them to harvest more, which is why we have the tariff thing, because then they dump a bunch in. And we're starting to see the other side of that now, where there's less supply available at times. But the wildfires in California don't impact us. The hurricanes don't impact us much. They put a little blip on some of the prices for a while, but we are, short of tornadoes, which are pretty small impacts, we are pretty much protected from natural disasters.
Yes. You started with that picture of that first building, and you made a couple references to that. Talk a little bit about what it's like, what it means to you to carry a family business forward.
So what does it mean to carry a family business forward? That's interesting. For a long time, I described it as I was running my dad's business, and it took me quite a while. It probably took me till almost the 2009 recession to realize that he wasn't here, he wasn't going to be back, and it was ours to figure out. Now I jokingly say all the time, when he retired, he told my sisters and I we could do whatever we wanted. So I try that every once in a while just to make sure it's true. I try some crazy things. But it is a unique relationship. It is different. You know, as a son, I think you're always trying to please your dad and make it work. When he retired, he told me that from 52 to 92, they had been profitable every year, so he told me not to screw that up, which I haven't so far. But, you know, it's been fun because he's been there and he's been able to talk with them, and he's proud of what we've done with it since he retired. And So, and we're trying to transition it, keep it in the family. We're not for sale. We've got a lot of people asking, but we're not trying to sell it. So we're trying to just keep it in the family and keep moving it forward. Because I think that's what creates the culture, and that's what keeps a lot of people there. And I think that's makes it an attractive place to work. Well, I'd wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to turn it back over to Brian.
Mark, one thing I love about these CEO breakfast series, I always learn a lot. Thank you for teaching us some about your business and the industry. It's clear that your vision and your mission and carrying this family business forward is why the company has been so successful, and I'm sure your dad is proud of the work you've done. So congratulations and thanks for being here. Let's give Mark another round of applause. You are also the first CEO I've ever met who talked about how Beatles have impacted their business. So that was good to learn that. Well, it is again good to be here and to have all you with us. If you're interested in a copy of today's presentation, you can see either Lisa or Amy back here, put their hands up, and they'll get you a copy of today's presentation. And please join us for our next CEO breakfast on January 15th at Butamore Country Club. Scott Terlink, President, Warner Electric Supply, will present on transforming disruption into opportunity, evolving to meet the needs of tomorrow's employees and customers. We hope to see you there, and meanwhile, have a fantastic, relaxing Thanksgiving break. Thank you.